The night was quiet at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. Dr. Sarah Chen yawned as she stared at the computer screens. It was another late night of searching for signals from space. Most nights were uneventful, but tonight would change everything. A loud beep from her computer made Sarah jump. Her eyes widened as she saw the strange pattern on the screen. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. Sarah's fingers flew across the keyboard as she checked and double-checked the data. Her heart raced with each confirmation. This was it, the moment scientists had dreamed of for decades. A clear, strong signal from deep space. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and called her boss, Dr. Rodriguez. "Sir, you need to see this. Now." Within an hour, the observatory was buzzing with activity. Scientists huddled around screens, talking excitedly. Dr. Rodriguez stood next to Sarah, his face pale as he looked at the data. "It's not random noise," Sarah explained. "There's a clear pattern. It has to be artificial." Dr. Rodriguez nodded slowly. "We need to inform the government. This is big, Sarah. Really big." As dawn broke, news of the signal spread like wildfire through the scientific community. Observatories around the world confirmed the signal. There was no doubt now. Humanity had made first contact. Sarah worked tirelessly with her team to decode the signal. Days turned into weeks. The world waited anxiously for news. Wild theories spread online. Some people panicked, while others celebrated. Finally, after a month of hard work, Sarah made a breakthrough. She burst into Dr. Rodriguez's office, her eyes wild with excitement and fear. "I've decoded part of the message," she said, her voice trembling. It's a warning." Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward. "A warning? About what?" Sarah took a deep breath. "There's a massive empire out there, in space, and they're coming to Earth." The color drained from Dr. Rodriguez's face. "Are you absolutely sure?" Sarah nodded. "The message talks about a galactic empire that's expanding across the galaxy. Earth is their next target." Dr. Rodriguez slumped in his chair. "This changes everything. We need to tell the president. Now." Within hours, Sarah found herself in a top-secret meeting at the White House. She explained her findings to a room full of serious-faced officials and military leaders. "How much time do we have?" the president asked, his voice grave. Sarah hesitated. "Based on the signal, we estimate they'll reach Earth in about 2 years." The room erupted in worried chatter. The Secretary of Defense stood up. 2 years? How can we possibly prepare for an alien invasion in 2 years? The president raised his hand for silence. "We have no choice. We must prepare. Dr. Chen, we need you to keep working on that signal. Find out everything you can about this empire." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. As she left the White House, Sarah looked up at the night sky. The stars twinkled innocently, hiding the terrible threat that lurked beyond. She thought about all the people going about their lives, unaware of the danger coming from the stars. In that moment, Sarah made a silent promise. She would do everything in her power to protect Earth, no matter the cost. The next day, world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The news was about to go public. Earth was about to face its greatest challenge. As Sarah watched the president's televised address, she couldn't help but wonder, how would humanity react? Could they unite against this threat, or would fear tear them apart? One thing was certain, nothing would ever be the same again. The signal from space had changed everything. Now it was up to humanity to face the coming storm. Sarah turned back to her computer. There was still so much work to do. The fate of Earth might depend on what she could learn from that mysterious signal. The galactic shadows were closing in, but humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The world changed overnight. As news of the alien signal spread, people reacted in different ways. Some panicked, rushing to buy supplies and build bunkers. Others refused to believe it, calling it a hoax. But most people were simply scared and confused. In New York, the United Nations building was busier than ever. Leaders from around the world gathered for an emergency meeting. They needed to make a plan, and fast. Inside the main hall, the air was tense. The U.S. president stood at the podium, his face grim. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we face the greatest threat in human history. But we must not lose hope. Together, we can overcome this challenge." As the president spoke, a commotion erupted outside. Somehow, news of the alien threat had leaked. Thousands of people crowded the streets, demanding answers. Police struggled to keep order as fear turned to anger. Back at the Arecibo Observatory, Dr. Sarah Chen worked tirelessly. She hadn't slept in days, fueled by coffee and determination. Every bit of information she could get from the alien signal might help save Earth. Suddenly, her computer beeped. Sarah's eyes widened as she read the new data. "Oh no," she whispered. She quickly called the UN meeting. On a large screen, Sarah's worried face appeared before the world leaders. "I have bad news," she said. "I've decoded more of the signal. The Galactic Empire isn't just coming to visit. They're planning to take over Earth completely." The room erupted in shocked voices. The Chinese president stood up. "How can we fight them? We don't even know what weapons they have." Sarah shook her head. "Their technology is far beyond ours." But the signal mentioned something interesting. "It seems not all alien species agree with the Empire. Some might be willing to help us." This news brought a glimmer of hope to the grim situation. The UN Secretary General spoke up. "We need to find a way to contact these potential allies." "Dr. Chen, can you send a message back?" Sarah nodded. "We can try. But we need to be careful. If the Empire intercepts our message, they might attack sooner." As the meeting continued, decisions were made. A new organization was formed, the Earth Defense Council. Its mission was clear: prepare humanity for the coming storm. Meanwhile, in a small town in Kansas, Jack Harper watched the news with a frown. As a former military strategist, he understood the danger better than most. He knew that traditional warfare wouldn't work against an advanced alien empire. Jack's phone rang. It was an old friend from the Pentagon. "Jack, we need you," the voice said. "The president is assembling a team to plan Earth's defense. You're on the list." Jack hesitated. He had left that life behind years ago. But as he looked at the fear in his neighbor's eyes, he knew he had to help. "I'm in," he said. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Scientists, soldiers, and leaders were called to action. Factories switched from making cars to producing weapons and spacecraft. Schools began teaching about alien life and space travel. But not everyone worked together. Some countries refused to share their resources or technology. Others saw the crisis as a chance to settle old scores. The Earth Defense Council struggled to keep the world united. As weeks passed, the first changes became visible. New satellites filled the skies, watching for any sign of the approaching empire. Giant radio telescopes were built, hoping to catch any alien communications. In secret facilities around the world, scientists worked on new technologies. They studied the alien signal, trying to learn anything that might help. Some projects sounded like science fiction. Force fields, faster than light engines, even teleportation. But time was running out. According to Sarah's calculations, the Galactic Empire would reach Earth in less than 2 years. Would humanity be ready? As the sun set on another tense day, Sarah stepped outside the observatory. She looked up at the stars, wondering which one hid the approaching threat. The weight of her knowledge pressed down on her. In that moment, Sarah made a decision. She wouldn't just decode the alien messages. She would find a way to fight back. Humanity's future depended on it. The impending storm was approaching. But Earth wasn't going down without a fight. The world's fastest supercomputers hummed day and night. In a secret facility deep underground, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly. Their mission: to find a way to defend Earth against the coming alien invasion. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in front of a giant screen, her eyes scanning lines of code. She had been working for weeks on a new AI system designed to predict alien tactics. Suddenly, the computer beeped. Sarah's eyes widened as she saw the results. "It's working," she whispered. "We might have a chance after all." Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Jack Harper walked into the Pentagon. The ex-military strategist had been called out of retirement for humanity's most important mission. As he entered the war room, all eyes turned to him. "Mr. Harper," the Secretary of Defense said, "we need a plan to defend Earth. And we need it fast." Jack nodded grimly. "Show me what we've got." For hours, Jack studied the reports. Earth's military forces were strong, but they weren't designed to fight an alien empire. They needed something new, something the aliens wouldn't expect. As Jack pondered the problem, Dr. Chen's latest findings arrived. Jack read the report, a spark of inspiration in his eyes. "This could work," he muttered. "We just need to think bigger." Over the next few days, Jack worked with Sarah and other experts to create a daring plan. They called it Project Thunderbolt. It combined Earth's military might with the latest in AI and theoretical physics. The plan was risky. It required technology that didn't exist yet, but it was Earth's best hope. When Jack presented the plan to world leaders, the room was silent. Finally, the U.S. president spoke. "It's dangerous," he said, "but we're out of options. Make it happen." With the green light given, Project Thunderbolt went into full swing. All over the world, factories worked around the clock. Scientists pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Every resource was directed towards Earth's defense. At the heart of the project was a new weapon system. It used principles from quantum physics to create a force field around Earth. In theory, it could stop even the most advanced alien ships. But theory and practice were two different things. As the months passed, progress was slow. Failed tests and setbacks were common. Some people started to lose hope. One day, during a particularly difficult test, an explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared as smoke filled the air. Sarah ran to check on the main computer, coughing as she went. To her relief, the computer was undamaged, but the test had failed again. Sarah slumped in her chair, feeling defeated. Just then, Jack walked in. He saw the despair on Sarah's face and sat down next to her. "Hey," he said gently, "remember why we're doing this?" Sarah looked up, her eyes tired but determined. "For Earth," she said. "For everyone we love." Jack nodded. "Exactly. We can't give up now. The whole world is counting on us." Inspired by Jack's words, Sarah turned back to her work with renewed energy. She noticed something in the data she had missed before. "Wait a minute," she said, excitement in her voice. "I think I've found the problem." Over the next few weeks, Sarah and her team worked nonstop to fix the issues. Finally, the day came for another test. Everyone held their breath as the system powered up. The air crackled with energy. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, suddenly, a shimmering field appeared around the test area. It glowed with a soft blue light, strong and stable. The room erupted in cheers. Project Thunderbolt was a success. As news of the breakthrough spread, hope returned to Earth. People celebrated in the streets, feeling for the first time that they might survive the coming invasion. But Jack and Sarah knew the hardest part was yet to come. They had a weapon, but would it be enough against the full might of the Galactic Empire? As they looked at the glowing force field, Jack put a hand on Sarah's shoulder. "We've done all we can," he said. "Now, we wait." Sarah nodded, her face a mix of pride and worry. Earth was as ready as it could be. The stage was set for humanity's last stand. In the sky above, unknown to everyone on Earth, the first ships of the Galactic Empire appeared. The real test was about to begin. The sky over New York City was clear and blue. But in an instant, everything changed. A massive shadow fell over the city as a gigantic spaceship appeared out of nowhere. People in the streets stopped and stared, their mouths open in shock. Similar scenes played out all over the world. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. Everywhere, alien ships filled the skies. The Galactic Empire had arrived. In the White House Situation Room, screens showed live feeds from around the globe. The president's face was grim as he turned to his advisors. "Activate Project Thunderbolt," he ordered. Deep underground, Jack Harper and Dr. Sarah Chen sprang into action. They had trained for this moment for months, but nothing could truly prepare them for the real thing. "Force field activated," Sarah announced, her fingers flying over the keyboard. A soft hum filled the air as the invisible shield spread around the Earth. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, one of the alien ships fired a beam of energy at New York. Everyone held their breath. The beam hit the force field and dissipated in a spectacular display of light. Cheers erupted in the control room. Project Thunderbolt worked. But their celebration was short-lived. A new alert sounded. "We're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship," a technician announced. On the main screen, a face appeared. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The alien had blue skin, 4 eyes, and what looked like tentacles around its mouth. When it spoke, its voice was deep and oddly musical. "People of Earth," the alien said, "I am Ambassador Zix 427 of the Galactic Empire. We come in peace." The room fell silent. This was not what they had expected. "We have been observing your planet for some time," Zix 427 continued. "Your species has great potential. We wish to welcome you into our empire." The president stepped forward. "And if we refuse?" The alien's 4 eyes blinked in unison. "Refusal is not an option. But do not fear. Joining the empire will bring you great benefits. Advanced technology, protection from cosmic threats, access to the galactic community." Jack and Sarah exchanged worried glances. This wasn't an invasion. It was an ultimatum. "We will give you 24 hours to prepare," Zix 427 said. "I will then meet with your leaders to discuss the terms of your surrender." With that, the transmission ended. The next 24 hours were a whirlwind of activity. World leaders gathered at the United Nations for emergency talks. Military forces around the globe were put on high alert, and everywhere, people waited anxiously for news of their fate. As the deadline approached, a small group of Earth's most important leaders gathered in a secure location. The president, along with Jack and Sarah, waited nervously for the alien ambassador to arrive. Right on time, there was a flash of light. Ambassador Zix 427 appeared before them, flanked by 2 guards. Up close, the aliens were even more strange and fascinating. "Greetings," Zix 427 said. "Are you ready to join the Galactic Empire?" The president stepped forward. "Before we discuss that, we have some questions." For the next few hours, they talked. The ambassador explained how the empire worked, what would be expected of Earth, and what benefits they would receive. Some of it sounded good: cures for diseases, clean energy technology, faster than light travel. But there was a catch. Earth would lose its independence. They would have to follow the empire's laws, pay taxes to the empire, and allow the empire to use Earth's resources. As the meeting went on, Jack noticed something odd. The ambassador seemed nervous, almost afraid, and he kept glancing at his guards. During a break, Jack pulled Sarah aside. "Something's not right," he whispered. "I think the ambassador is hiding something." Sarah nodded. "I noticed too. But what can we do?" Jack's eyes gleamed with an idea. "Remember that translation program you developed? The one that can detect lies?" Sarah's eyes widened. "You want to use it on the ambassador? That's risky." "We don't have a choice," Jack said. "The fate of Earth depends on it." As they returned to the meeting, Sarah discreetly activated her program. As Zix 427 continued to speak, data flowed across her tablet screen. Suddenly, Sarah gasped. She showed her tablet to Jack and the president. The program had detected numerous lies in the ambassador's speech. The president's face hardened. He turned to Zix 427. Ambassador, he said firmly, we know you're not telling us the whole truth. What are you hiding? For a moment, Zix 427 looked shocked. Then, to everyone's surprise, he slumped in defeat. You're right, he said. There's something you need to know about the Empire. As Zix 427 began to speak, Jack and Sarah exchanged looks. This was not how they expected first contact to go. But maybe, just maybe, it was the opening Earth needed. The room was silent as Ambassador Zix 427 began to speak. His 4 eyes darted nervously between the humans and his own guards. The Empire, he began, his voice trembling. It's not what we've told you. It's not a benevolent force spreading peace and progress. It's a tyranny. The human leaders exchanged shocked glances. Jack leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. Go on, he urged. Zix 427 took a deep breath. The Empire conquers worlds, strip mines them of resources, and enslaves their people. Your Earth, it's just the next target. Sarah gasped. But why are you telling us this? Won't you be punished? The alien ambassador's tentacles twitched in what seemed like a sad smile. I've seen too many worlds fall. I can't bear to see it happen again. Your species, you're different. The way you resisted, your ingenuity. You might have a chance to stop them. Suddenly, one of Zix 427's guards moved. In a flash, he had a weapon pointed at the ambassador's head. Traitor, he hissed. Everything happened in an instant. Jack lunged forward, tackling the guard. The alien's weapon fired, missing Zix 427, but hitting the ceiling. Chunks of concrete rained down. In the chaos, Sarah grabbed the ambassador and pulled him to safety. The president's security team swarmed in, quickly subduing the other guard. As the dust settled, Jack stood up, brushing debris from his clothes. Well, he said with a grim smile, I guess negotiations are over. The president nodded, his face set with determination. We need to warn Earth, and we need a plan. Over the next few hours, as dawn broke over a tense world, the humans worked with Zix 427. The ambassador shared everything he knew about the Empire's weaknesses, their battle strategies, and their technology. There's one thing that might give you an edge, Zix 427 said. The Empire's ships are all connected to a central network. If you could hack into it. Sarah's eyes lit up. We could disable their entire fleet. Jack nodded, a plan forming in his mind. But we'd need to get close to one of their ships, and we'd need a way to break through their security. Zix 427's tentacles waved excitedly. I can help with that. I know the access codes. The president looked at Jack and Sarah. Can you do it? They exchanged a determined look. We can try, Sarah said. It's risky, Jack added, but it's our best shot. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Sarah worked furiously to modify her translation program into a hacking tool. Jack coordinated with military leaders to prepare for the mission. As the sun began to set, they were ready. A small, stealthy ship had been prepared. Jack and Sarah would pilot it, with Zix 427 guiding them. Before they left, the president addressed the world. He told them about the Empire's true nature and the plan to stop them. Today, we fight not just for Earth, he said, but for all the world suffering under the Empire's rule. As Jack, Sarah, and Zix 427 boarded their ship, a cheer went up from the gathered crowd. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. The small ship shot into the sky, quickly approaching the massive alien fleet. Sarah's hand shook slightly as she piloted the craft, weaving between the giant ships. There, Zix 427 pointed with a tentacle. That's the command ship. They approached carefully. Using the ambassador's codes, they were able to dock undetected. Inside the alien ship, they moved swiftly through strange, glowing corridors. Finally, they reached the central computer room. Okay, Sarah whispered, connecting her device to the alien technology. Here goes nothing. Her fingers flew over the keyboard as she unleashed her hacking program. Alien symbols flashed across the screen, slowly being replaced by Earth language. Suddenly, alarms blared. "They've detected us," Zix 427 cried. Almost there. Sarah gritted her teeth, working faster. Jack stood guard at the door, weapon ready. He could hear the sound of approaching guards. "Done," Sarah shouted triumphantly. Just then, the door burst open. Alien guards poured in, weapons raised. But before they could fire, every light on the ship flickered and died. The aliens looked around in confusion. Jack grinned. "I think it worked." All across the Earth's sky, the massive alien ships suddenly went dark. They drifted aimlessly, powerless. Back on Earth, cheers erupted as people realized what had happened. Humanity had won its first battle against the Galactic Empire. But as Jack, Sarah, and Zix 427 raced back to their ship, they knew this was just the beginning. They had sent a powerful message to the Empire. Earth would not submit. Earth would fight back. And now, the real war was about to begin. The news spread faster than light across the galaxy. Earth, a small blue planet on the edge of the Milky Way, had done the impossible. They had defeated a fleet of the mighty Galactic Empire. On countless worlds under Imperial rule, the reaction was immediate and explosive. Inspired by Earth's victory, long-suppressed rebellions ignited like wildfire. On the desert planet Zarthun, the reptilian inhabitants rose up against their Imperial overlords. They overwhelmed the surprised garrison with sheer numbers and determination. In the crystal cities of Lumina, the light-based lifeforms used their control over photons to blind Imperial sensors and communications. Within hours, they had reclaimed their world. Even on Corax Prime, the heavily industrialized heart of the Empire's shipyards, the slave workers downed tools and turned their machines against their masters. Back on Earth, Jack, Sarah, and Zix 427 watched these reports with a mixture of awe and concern. "We've started something big," Jack said, his voice filled with wonder. Sarah nodded, her eyes glued to the screens showing uprising after uprising. "But the Empire won't take this lying down. They'll strike back, and hard." Zix 427's tentacles waved in agitation. "You're right. The Emperor will be furious. He'll want to make an example of Earth." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the underground command center. A technician called out, "Massive hyperspace signatures detected. They're bigger than anything we've seen before." The main screen lit up, showing a terrifying sight. A new fleet had arrived in Earth's solar system. At its center was a ship so large it dwarfed even the massive vessels they had faced before. The Imperial Dreadnought. Zix 427 whispered in fear. "The Emperor's personal flagship. He's come himself." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The most powerful being in the galaxy was now at Earth's doorstep, seeking revenge. Suddenly, a new alert sounded. The technician's voice was filled with surprise. "Sir, we're detecting more ships entering the system, but they're not Imperial designs." Indeed, ships of all shapes and sizes were appearing around Earth. Some were sleek and fast, others bulky and bristling with weapons. Each was as alien as the next, but they all had one thing in common. They were positioning themselves between Earth and the Imperial fleet. A transmission came through. On the screen appeared a diverse group of aliens. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin stepped forward. "People of Earth," it said, its voice melodious. "I am Admiral Zira of the Free Galactic Alliance. We've come to help." Hope surged through the room. Earth wasn't alone anymore. Admiral Zira continued, "Your bravery in standing up to the Empire has inspired us all. For too long we've hidden in the shadows, afraid to oppose Imperial might. But no more. Today, we stand with Earth." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The Earth's leaders worked quickly to coordinate with their new allies. Battle plans were drawn up, strengths and weaknesses assessed. Jack found himself in a strategy session with alien military leaders, sharing what he knew about Imperial tactics. Sarah worked with a team of alien scientists, combining Earth's hacking techniques with advanced alien technology. As the two fleets faced each other across the space around Earth, tension built. The Emperor's voice boomed across all channels. "Rebels and troublemakers," he growled, his voice dripping with disdain. "Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and I will crush your pitiful alliance and turn your worlds to ash." Admiral Zira's response was swift and defiant. "We will not bow to tyranny any longer. Today, we fight for freedom." With that, the greatest space battle in galactic history began. Imperial ships clashed with the Allied fleet in a dazzling display of advanced technology and heroic sacrifice. On Earth, Jack and Sarah manned a command station, coordinating the planet's defenses. Zix 427 provided invaluable insights into Imperial strategies. The battle raged for hours. Losses were heavy on both sides. But slowly, surely, the Allies began to gain the upper hand. Earth's miracle defense system, combined with the diverse technologies of their new allies, proved to be a match for Imperial might. As the Imperial dreadnought took heavy damage, the Emperor's voice came through once more, but this time it was filled with disbelief and fear. This is impossible," he cried. "I am the Emperor. I cannot be defeated." Admiral Zira's voice answered, calm and resolute. "The age of your empire is over. A new dawn is coming for the galaxy." With that, the dreadnought's engines flared. In a flash of light, it disappeared into hyperspace, retreating from the battle. Seeing their leader flee, the remaining Imperial ships quickly followed suit. A cheer went up from every ship in the Allied fleet and from every corner of the Earth. Against all odds, they had won. As the dust of battle settled, Jack, Sarah, and Zix 427 looked at each other in amazement. They had not only saved Earth, but had sparked a revolution that would reshape the entire galaxy. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, heralding the dawn of a new era of freedom and cooperation among the stars. 1 year had passed since the great battle that shook the stars. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The planet was no longer alone in the vast expanse of space. It was now a respected member of the Galactic Council, a new organization formed from the alliance that defeated the Empire. On a bright morning in New York City, Dr. Sarah Chen stood on a stage in front of the United Nations building. Beside her was Jack Harper, looking uncomfortable in his formal suit. Before them was a sea of faces, human and alien alike. The Secretary General of the UN, now also Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, stepped up to the microphone. "Today," he announced, "we honor two of Earth's greatest heroes. Their bravery and ingenuity not only saved our world, but inspired a revolution that brought freedom to countless species across the galaxy." Sarah and Jack exchanged an embarrassed glance as the crowd cheered. They weren't used to such attention. "Dr. Sarah Chen and Mr. Jack Harper," the Secretary General continued, "it is my great honor to present you with the Nobel Peace Prize." As Sarah accepted the award, she thought back to that night in the observatory when she first detected the alien signal. How far they had come since then. After the ceremony, Sarah and Jack found a quiet moment alone. "Can you believe it?" Sarah asked, looking at the medal in her hand. "A year ago, we were just trying to save Earth. Now look at us." Jack nodded, his eyes scanning the New York skyline. Sleek alien ships now mingled with the aircraft in the sky. "It's been quite a ride," he said with a smile. Their moment of reflection was interrupted by a familiar voice. "Congratulations, my friends." They turned to see Zix 427 approaching, his blue skin gleaming in the sunlight. The former Imperial ambassador, now the Galactic Council's chief of interspecies relations, wrapped his tentacles around them in what they had learned was his species' version of a hug. "The Council has big plans for Earth," Zix 427 said excitedly. "We're thinking of making it the center for galactic cultural exchange. After all, If humans could unite the galaxy, imagine what else they could do. As they chatted with their alien friend, a commotion near the UN building caught their attention. A group of human children was gathered around a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin, Admiral Zira of the Free Galactic Alliance. The children were peppering the Admiral with questions about space, other worlds, and alien life. Zira answered each query with patience and enthusiasm, her melodious voice filled with wonder at the humans' curiosity. "That's the real victory," Jack said softly, nodding towards the scene. "Not just defeating the Empire, but opening up a whole universe of possibilities for the next generation." Sarah agreed. Already, human scientists were working with alien counterparts, making breakthroughs in medicine, technology, and understanding of the universe. Earth's first faster-than-light ship was nearing completion, built with a combination of human ingenuity and alien knowledge. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some people were still scared of the aliens, worried about Earth losing its identity in the vast galactic community. Sarah and Jack had been working hard to bridge the gap, to help humans see their new alien neighbors as friends rather than threats. As the day wore on, Sarah found herself on the observation deck of the newly built Galactic Embassy. From here, she could see the sprawling city below and the star-filled sky above. The sight of distant planets, once just points of light, now filled her with excitement. Each one was a potential new adventure, a new culture to understand. Jack joined her, handing her a cup of coffee. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked. Sarah smiled. "I was just thinking about how much has changed. A year ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. We were focused on our own little problems. Now," she gestured at the sky, "now the whole galaxy is our home." Jack nodded. "It's exciting, but a little scary too. We've got a lot of responsibility now. The whole galaxy is watching to see what we'll do next." "True," Sarah agreed. "But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that humanity is capable of amazing things when we work together. And now we're not just working with other humans, but with beings from across the stars." As if to emphasize her point, a group of alien diplomats walked by, deep in discussion with human officials. Among them was a young human woman, excitedly explaining an idea to her alien colleagues. Jack grinned. "Looks like the next generation is already taking the lead." Sarah raised her coffee cup in a toast. "To the future," she said, "to a new dawn for humanity." As the sun set over New York, painting the sky in brilliant colors, Sarah and Jack stood in comfortable silence. They had faced the greatest threat in human history and emerged victorious. Now, a whole universe of possibilities lay before them. The stars twinkled above, no longer distant and unreachable, but full of promise and adventure. Humanity's next great journey was just beginning.